Pregame.com.
Final Four, baby. Pregame.tv. Steve Fezzik, Brady, Kannon, breaking down the committee, how they did. Do we agree? Do we disagree? Our thoughts on the selection process. I'm going to lead this one off, and I'm going to say that with the committee, the one thing I don't understand is what were they thinking when they put TCU number 3 the week before? That's the biggest problem that I have. If you're going to have these shows every single week, why box yourself into a corner like that and do that? I thought that was a big mistake because obviously an undefeated Florida State team belongs in over a TCU team. Why did they flip those two teams? Brady, your thoughts?
I think you're exactly right. That's probably the biggest mistake they made the entire time. And the weekly release of the rankings makes for great talk, and it's another topic that we have to discuss. But, that's a little bit of a show, a reality TV, if you will, and it really doesn't necessarily matter. And so, it's just that last week that really matters. And if they would not have done all that lead up and they just came out with that Final Four, there might not have been such uproar. But truly, that was their biggest mistake. And I'll tell you what, you can't put TCU third ahead of an undefeated national championship that hasn't lost in 2 years. But I don't necessarily disagree from a rating standpoint that TCU, I think you would probably agree as well, TCU is probably a higher rated team than Florida State. But what they did is they just set themselves up for disaster.
Yeah, now, obviously TCU is better than Florida State.
I think so.
No one could debate that. Anyone who debates that, if they feel that way, they just go home, go do another.
And you and I also agree Florida State deserves to be there. There's no doubt about it. They might be the 6th or 7th best team, but you got to put them in.
This is about a body of work. This is not a power rating. They say,
you can't eliminate the champ until you knock off the champ.
Right, and even if they weren't the champ, you can't go through a power conference, beat the Clemsons, the Georgia Techs of the world, be undefeated and not get in. I mean, you got to, if you're under now, you lose all the tie breaks to all the other undefeated teams. But if you get through unscathed in a power conference, you're in. And I would argue, boy, what a problem they would have if there was only 2 teams this year. Imagine, coming up with, telling Florida State.
In the playoff?
Imagine telling Florida State you're staying home.
Sure.
And I really think it should be a 6 or 8 team playoff.
Yeah, clearly. That's the other thing we've learned. I mean, 2 things. The committee made a mistake putting TCU number 3 in the penultimate week, and we've also learned you need 6 or 8 teams.
Another thing I'm having a problem with is the Vegas one is thumping their chest like our ratings are better than yours. As the committee, like we have Florida State ranked 9th, and like we covered that. The second thing I have a problem with is this whole TCU Baylor head-to-head. Head-to-head matters.
Yeah, I don't buy that.
Head-to-head matters when you clobber a team. Head-to-head matters when you go to the other team's stadium and you win. Head-to-head doesn't matter when you're on the road and you play a game that you play for 58 minutes and it's a coin flip who's going to win and the rest decide the game, and they give it to Baylor because of like a call that could go either way. That's a sort of situation. You can't say, oh, Baylor won that game at home, so they should get in over TCU.
Yeah, and I think it's especially true of college football when you have a ranking setup rather than in the NFL, where it's basically a playoff-type setup. In college, it's all about how they rank. I don't think you can hang your hat on a game that was decided by 3 points, like you say, basically a glorified tie that happened earlier in the year. College is about how these teams have performed probably the last 5, 4, 6 weeks at the most, as evidenced by Ohio State's jumping into the 4-team playoff. So I don't really give that head-to-head, regardless of the score. It happened a long time ago. TCU, I think anybody that knows what they're doing can see right now, I would say they're the better team than Baylor, and most people feel that way.
Yeah, I agree. One thing, too, is like in Vegas, we got a lot of old school handicappers that are great. They're really good at what they do, but they suck in terms of changing with the times. And like I was literally screaming at one of them who was saying, like when we went to this bowl, the Final 2 and the Final 4, and he was like, I like the old system with the bowls. And it's like and that's what my rant's going to be on if I can. How can you like the old system with the balls versus a playoff? I mean, it's almost like I do this all the time with Scott Spreitzer on the show, and we flip it around. Imagine we always had a 8-team college football playoff. 1 plays 8, 2 plays 7, and we go through this. We've done that forever. And someone came out and said, you know what, we should change the system. Why don't we just go to like some bowl systems randomly? Maybe put a 1 against a 5, a 2 against a 9, and then we'll just figure out who's number one, you would be laughed out of this city. You would be like, that guy is so confused and clueless. And like I go back to I always talk about the soccer example that the penalty kick. I understand that you got a penalty kick when you get tackled during the regulation. You get to kick from where you're going to score 60% of the time. But having penalty kicks in a sport that you can't score, that's almost a given that you should score if you don't screw up, is crazy. Move the line back 5 yards. People are like, oh, you're crazy. The rule's been that way the whole way. Hey, rules are meant to be broken. That's what makes the NFL great. And if you flip it around, look at the NCAA tournament. Imagine if someone said, we should have a 14 playoff in the NCAA basketball tournament. People would lose their mind. You're an idiot. And I really feel like when they finally get to this 6 or 18 playoff, I don't care which, everyone's going to say, oh, okay, we got it now.
And there will still be controversy, but I think that is the most ideal system that we have available to us right now. And I agree with you. I don't care if it's 6 or 8. This year, I'm not sure if number 8 can beat number 1, but number 6 might be able to.
Sure.
So 6 or 8, either or. And I think, and hey, the other thing, in the committee's defense, for their first year, they did pretty well.
Yeah, they just made the one mistake, I think, at the very end. Thank God Condoleezza Rice was there to fix the problem. No, I'm kidding. I actually, I hate these people haven't played football argument. And it's like, look, the people who played football, make egregious mistakes every week. Anyone who watches these teams play, and people get mad at me like, oh, you, Steve Fezzik, you've never played football, but you know better what to do strategy-wise than these teams do. And I'm like, absolutely, because I watch 15 games every Saturday. I watch 30 games every Saturday and Sunday. I watch every game in the NFL. Of course I know what to do.
Well, I don't think people are being ignorant if they're insulting the intelligence of that committee. I mean, that's, that's kind of almost a Mensa group, if you will. There are no dummies in that room.
I will say this. There's a lot of rich people in that room, and you know what? The Final Four they put together with Florida State playing Oregon, with Winston going against the Oregon quarterback, and then Ohio State and Alabama and Urban Meyer.
Oh, yeah.
They maximize the
Absolutely.
profits
No,
as well.
they know politics as well.
Absolutely.
But I tell you, I think one of the smartest guys in that room is probably Andrew Luck's father.
I would not doubt that Andrew Luck.
And he's probably almost one of the most football-savvy guys in that room, too.
You got a pick on any of these games yet? You looked at them yet?
You're talking against the spread?
Yep.
No, I have not.
That's how we keep score.
That's right.
Who's going to win it all?
It wouldn't surprise. I think it's definitely going to be Oregon and Alabama. Mm-hmm. And I sure want Oregon to win. That's all I can say.
Where will the finals be? Which venue? Do you know where they're playing the finals?
No, I don't.
Because I know that's a huge advantage for Oregon to play in the Rose Bowl.
Sure.
In the semifinals.
I wouldn't be surprised if Florida State covered the spread, though, because they've been a favorite all year and struggled, but they stay in games.
They finally have the bullseye off of them. So
I wouldn't be surprised if they kept it close in the first round of the playoffs.
Very good. Bowl season is here. We are going to be talking about the bowls and what we're looking for in terms of oftentimes motivated underdogs early, maybe favorites late. We have one game before the bowl season, Army, Navy. I didn't do a video on it because I can't name a player. I will tell you this. This is a premium play. I'm going to give out a free play. Why not? Make Kate's life difficult. I'm going to go under in the Army-Navy game. The last 8 times these teams have played, they've gone under 50 points. The total is 58. This was a premium play for me. Part of it, Armies can't stop anyone. If there's one thing they can do, is they can manage their way against an option. It's a quirky, flawed offense that is very difficult to stop when you don't see it. You see it every day in practice. You can stop it. Even if you're Army, Navy is going to win this game 35-13. It's going to stay under. I will make a bold prediction that stays under 50, not just under 58. I'm giving you a pleaser here, college football.
Well, all they do is run. The clock's going to tick. Yeah, tick. I mean, they're going to score some points, certainly. They're both successful by the run, but they don't pass.
No score first 6 minutes is a good one, too, because Navy, when they win the coin flip, almost always defers.
Yes.
So if Navy gets the ball, they may score the first drive, and it still might take more than 6 minutes. And Army probably won't score, and they'll be punting, and we'll be home free. So
you got probability on your side.
Let's do it. Nice job this week.
Thank you.
Mr. Kannon. Maybe Brady and I'll be back next Tuesday. We are in state of flux right here at pregame, trying to figure out the scheduling with the videos. So Ken Thompson will be back later on this week with some handicappers to be named later. Check back on the videos. Perhaps we will have Smokin' Dave Koken back in the room, one of my favorite handicappers, because when I was young and weak, Mr. Koken would come on the Stardust line every Sunday night with the look-ahead lines, and he would pick 60% again in college football, lobbing winner after winner on Sunday night. And so I love the man, and happy that he's here at pregame. Thanks for tuning in. Check out all those videos coming up, pregame.tv.
Cool.
Boom, boom.